Hey, what's going on, peoples? Good morning. Good morning to everyone. And it's a great morning here. It is Sunday, the 7th of 7th of June, 2020, and I am bringing you the weekly recap of some Disney news, and there's been lots of news going on now. I posted a video a couple of days ago how I get all of my news from a bunch of sources and kind of collect them all and then save them, and so we can talk about them here on a the weekly recap on Sundays at about 11 o'clock in the morning. So because I like to talk about and keep notified and keep informed of what's going on here in Disney World and in the Disney realm. So, and I like to keep you guys informed too. I know it's kind of hard to keep track of all the fast moving, fast paced news that's happening all over the place, and especially with Disney. And because things change from day to day, I could tell you something today, and tomorrow it will change, and that's how it works for Disney and a lot of things. Um, so, um, yeah, so I think having multiple sources for news is a great thing. A lot of people have differing opinions, or they show you stuff that you didn't know that somebody else might have forgotten, and I think all news is for Disney is great because you may miss it one place and pick up something new somewhere else. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, construction has started back up in the Magic Kingdom, and all across the Walt Disney World properties. Construction is back at it. Epcot, well, one construction project that's not happening right now is Spaceship Earth. They have postponed that to a date to be determined. They are not retrofitting or renovating the Spaceship Earth until who knows when. There's no future date set. It will still take 2 years once they start the project to bring it to some type of futuristic or to update it to a to reflect on some modern stuff and probably keep some older things. I think it will be a great thing when it's done, but we won't have it for a long time. So so the construction is going on. They're painting the Cinderella's castle. You can see the I've seen pictures of the ladders and the construction workers back to painting the royal blue on the Cinderella's castle, and that's pretty cool stuff. I think it's going to look really really awesome when it's done, and it's really good to see that construction is going on again at the TTC where people are going to be parking at, and they're doing the construction there, just all over the place. It seems like Disney World it never had it's never a time that there is no construction project going on. Actually, not that I ever have been there. There's always construction changing, always going on. It's a never-ending process, and when you think about the money that you're paying there, you can be rest assured that they're using it to make improvements. That's for sure. So number 2, Shanghai Disneyland starts trials for virtual queues. So we've been talking about virtual queues here as part of something that here in the United States, Walt Disney World is going to have, and in Shanghai Disneyland, they have been testing out and trying out this new virtual queue system. Something very similar to Rise of the Resistance, where you would check in virtually to the ride and you would have to come back when it's your time. There's not going to be any fast pass lines. It will just be virtual queues where you will go and go right to the ride when your mobile app tells you it is time to be there. Now, I don't think that's going to help out. That may work for a lot of people. That way you can do something else, but I don't know that's really going to crack down on size of crowds because, as we know, people congregate around the ride, waiting with their phone impatiently, or patiently, and waiting to get on for the virtual queue. It's just something that people do, and I don't know that it's that a virtual queue is going to resolve that. It will help out, I think, reduce some of the crowd sizes for people waiting in lines, but I don't know that virtual queue is really going to work out as to as a replacement. I think a trial of it is worthwhile, and but these are just my opinions and thoughts on it. The suggestion of having a longer queue line with people there, I think that's a great idea, or um, that's a good idea too. If they can manage to have the space to space people out further along, and I think that's what they've tried to do. They've got rid of the fast pass lines so that they can utilize that area for expanding the lines of the original regular line for the non-fast pass line to make things more safer. So virtual queues. We'll see how it works in the future. Virtual queues. So let's talk. Okay, so number 3, I got a huge list here of a bunch of items that we're going over here for Disney news. So we've talked about the construction starting. Shanghai is starting virtual queue trials. And now we're talking about the ESPN. The big time news everybody's been talking about is they're going to be hosting 22 teams. They have a list of 22 teams I've seen on one website. Who the teams could possibly be. I guess they still are trying to figure out exactly what teams they will be. But somebody has a list of the probable candidates of what teams. They will host the NBA and you'll be using Coronado Springs and the ESPN Sports Complex. Every time I hear ESPN, and sports and stuff. I don't know. In my head, I keep on thinking about Howard Cosell, but he was not. He was ABC Sports, not which is actually ABC Sports was kind of diverged into merged together with ESPN Sports because ABC is owned by Disney and ESPN and stuff. And they kind of all merged. So yeah, Coronado Springs is where they would be staying. It's not it's a non-DVC resort. They don't have any reservations till in the fall. They're available. I don't think anybody's going to be staying there for a while since they're not allowing people to make reservations at non-DVC resorts at this period in time. And the players are going to have to stick in the bubble of the hotel and going back and forth. They're going to be like in seclusion, according to the NBA and Disney, that they will not be able to visit the parks. Now, I don't know if that's going to hold true. Look, I mean, we're talking about basketball players that that have lots of money and may want to see the park, and maybe they'll have a team park day and nobody else will be able to go to the park. Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to go after hours, after 7 p.m. when the park closes, to the general public and go. Who knows? But I think for now, they're just saying that there's going to be no players that will be there during the time that the general public are allowed to Disney World, which makes sense, because they're trying to stay safe and and guarantee there's health and stuff from being mixed around the general public, and then they have to have this giant security and they incite people gathering for crowds, following them around. It's a big ordeal. I think that's what Disney is really concerned about, is having all the crowds following the players. Yeah, so there's here's number 4. No more they're not selling any more Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party tickets. No more. If you have a ticket, you're like Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You have a lucky golden ticket to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Whether it's going to be continuing to go on is anybody's guess. Nobody knows exactly at this point in time if the Halloween party is going to be going on, or if it's going to be scaled back, if it's going to be so many people. I mean, we already know these events are already have so many people that are able to go. And most people, if you're not from Florida and you're coming to Florida for one of these events, you might actually be there for a while, for a week or so. So maybe they might try to persuade you to have a date for the Mickey's Not So Scary on a different date than the date that you picked. That way that they can limit the number of people that are there from the number of people that have tickets already that were bought. So I think we're going to have to wait a little longer here to figure out exactly what's going on with that. But they've already said there's no fireworks. I mean, I don't know how you could even have a Halloween party without any fireworks or anything like that. That's no parades, no fireworks, no character meet and greets, no nothing. It doesn't sound much of a Halloween party, if that. And I don't even know. It's October or August, actually, a few months away. We're gonna have to wait and see. Maybe things will change. Maybe they won't. Number 5. Yes. Furloughed workers will be back. Disney's opening July the 11th. They've made an announcement that they need to bring back the furloughed workers. They probably need more workers than they did before. That way, they're cleaning more things. They have even though they have less crowds, they have a lot of work to do. As far as and they're going to have to do a lot of stuff. So furloughing the workers back, they've been put on notice that they're going to be coming back. And on top of that, the Epcot international employees are able to come back. But in the meantime, that the local employment union has said that non-cultural employees, just regular Americans that are from the United States of America, they're actually going to be able to replace the cultural employees, for instance, in Germany or Japan, Morocco, Mexico, Italy, UK, and such. So if they're going to be replacing those people until they get back, because some of their countries might be on lockdown and stuff. And but I'm not sure that that's really going to hinder your entire international your experience of the Epcot World Showcase, because because they don't have that many people representing cultures. I do believe that because we have a diverse society here in the United States, I think that they're going to be able to find people representing their own culture right here in the Orlando area. I think that's going to be something that's possible. And I think that those people would be proud to represent their just diverse backgrounds there while working in Disney. I think that's another opportunity that's possible. So let's see here. So the furlough workers will be back. That includes maybe JoJo or Kyle might be back. Kyle Paulo. Let's see here. The college program, though, there is no date for return of the college program, which means that they're going to need a ton of more than just the furloughed workers. They're going to have some short term, some people that are going to be hired probably temporarily until the beginning of the college program, because they have a lot of college program people coming that are not going to be working, and those openings are going to be available. And they're going to have to be there. So I suspect there's going to be a ton of people that are working and replace those college kids. I don't think that's going to be permanent. I'm sure Disney will bring them back because they do help the college kids have a great internship and also, go to college there in Florida. Tokyo Disneyland is prepping for social distancing over there. They have not open yet. Nobody knows when they're going to be open, but they are social. They're prepping the grounds, tape, drawing lines, and they've been beefing up the security by they have there's photos of brand new X-ray machines and metal detectors lately at Disney Seas in Tokyo Disneyland area, and Tokyo Disneyland is I think it's prepping. It's getting ready. I think that as soon as they can, they're gonna open up, and I'm certain they'll be just like Shanghai. If you bought this is good news for a lot of people. If you had a vacation and you bought tickets, you have the resort and you buy the ticket. It's kind of like almost like a la carte, um, even though you buy it all together as a package. Some things are a la carte, And so the tickets, if you had the tickets and you bought the multi-day tickets and you can't go, or you're not going to go this year, it's extended now till September of 2021. That means that you will be able to go on your vacation until 2021 with the same tickets. That's good stuff. I think a lot of people who canceled reservations that might not have a annual pass, that have these tickets that they paid for them, that may have been reimbursed, but I think maybe now they're being offered the option to have them extended. That way they can use them next year. That's a great thing. Yeah, then all you have to worry about is rebooking your resort. Talking about park reservations, no, there's not going to be any in-park dining reservations. And there's not going to be a dining plan. They've already canceled the dining plan. As everybody knows, there's going to be no dining plan. But on top of having no dining plan, which is a lot of people actually, the dining plan is almost like a prepaid. I would compare it to to prepaying your meals ahead of time. That way you can have a budget and you can prepay them in a plan. But yeah, so let's see, the no park dining reservations, so no in-park dining reservations. That's really going to limit the number of places that you can go to dine at. Also, because they're not going to have at those dining in the parks, you're not going to be able to go to a host of places that you wanted to go before for sit down table reservations. That means the most sit down reservations are probably going to be taking place in Disney Springs, or at the resorts, because I did hear that if you're not going to be able to get into the resort complex unless that you have a reservation for a dining reservation, or that you're staying at the resort. So there's a lot of great restaurants that are at the resorts. Everybody knows that. But I'm not sure that, like, for instance, if that the self-service buffet at the Grand Floridian is going to be available. I forget the name of that one off the top of my head, but that mean I don't think that's going to be something they're going to probably. I suspect they'll be changing the format of some of these breakfasts and dinners, and maybe doing away with the buffet style as they have at a lot of places. But also, there's not going to be any character meet and greets except at all those places. Except there's going to be one at the Riviera at Topolino's. I believe that's the name of it, and they're going to be the only meet and greet with characters for dining reservations in the entire Disney complex for right now. I think that's maybe a trial. And as things change, as they always do, who knows? Maybe they'll open it up to other places around the that are not in the parks. Let's see here. They're not going to have to limit the crowd sizes. They've said now that there's going to be no limited releases of merchandise in any of the stores. No limited releases. As you know, limited release dates, usually you have large crowds and people are waiting for hours and hours and hours to get the merchandise. And they cut down on having long lines and whatnot. It's going to be, they're not going to have any. I don't know where they're going to release these things. I think that what they should do is just put them online, first come, first serve, and they should still do the limited releases only online. And I know that will. I mean, some people are angry because they can never get there at the right time, or not everybody's internet connection is the greatest, or they never are able to get anything online at the date because everybody's buying it out already. But I think that's what they're gonna have to do. In the meantime, those who are pin trading, if you're pin trading, that's going to go on. No lanyards for the. There's going to be no lanyards with pins on them on any of the cast members. They're not going to have lanyards with pins. They're going to have pin boards that are going to be set up in wherever they're at, and I'm sure you're not going to be able to touch all the pins. You're going to have to just stand there and go and look at them, and they will be handled by the cast member, which that doesn't bother me at all. But some people like to touch the pins and touch the merchandise, and they've already had signs other places where they, like in the stores, where they don't want you touching the merchandise as much, and they have signs up on top of the racks that say don't touch anything. So I suspect that same kind of request will be at the pin trading stations, but I think it's still going to be fun. I also don't. I'm not sure that you're going to have pin trading that much between. Some people may not want to pin trade. Fellow guests may be like not into that because of whatever reason. And I think they should. I think all the limited edition pins will probably still be released online instead. One thing that's going to change is they're going to stop. A lot of people buy a lot of merchandise in the parks, and they're used to shipping it back to their resort hotel room. Well, for now, that's not going to be able to happen. You're going to have to walk around with all your giant bags and get them back. And so when you go to the parks, remember, whatever you buy, you're going to just have to take back with you. I don't have a problem with that myself, but some people it frees them up of carrying a bunch of stuff with them. Personally, I just plan a day that I know that I'm going to go shopping that day and not go on a bunch of rides and carry around a bunch of loaded down with a bunch of bags. But if you're only there for a short period of time, you may want to remember that, and also that they're not going to send your package back to your room. Now they will send your all your stuff. They will help you send it back to your home where you live. No problem with that. They've also said that resort reservations does not guarantee a park entrance, this is something that I'm sure that will deter some people from actually going and reserving a resort room, because they were maybe under the assumption, well, I have a resort room, I should be able to get a park entrance. Now, that's not guaranteed. Disney has said they can't guarantee you anything. Um, and now they're saying they're not guaranteeing if you're staying at the resort you're gonna be able to get in. I think that's just the way it is right now. Um, because you have to reserve you're gonna have to reserve a time slot. I suspect, to go to the park, whatever park it may be. And I don't know how long in advance you're gonna be able to do that for. If you maybe they're gonna say, well, you can't reserve your park entrance until you check into your resort room. Who knows? Um, but I hope that they would be able to do it earlier on, before you even leave, and say, I want to be at the park this day and that day. We'll have to see what they say. They haven't really come out with an actual um, informational, guidance of how all of this is going to work with the park reservations yet. They have not released it, even, and it is getting closer. We're in the the first, almost a third of June is gone. We're almost a month away, and if there's going to be, if you're going to be able to have a reservation beforehand, you're going to have to you're going to have to take care of that. So, anyways, let's see here. Yeah, if you're going to be able to have the actual reservations before the park, that's something that you're going to be going to do. So let's see here. Also, getting to the park is going to be a little different now. They're the transportation. No more mini buses for now. That's a little red car, with the polka dots. Looks like mini. No, they're not going to have the mini buses, and but you'll be able to get on the buses. But the buses going from park to park are going to be limited in capacity. If you're familiar with being there, and you know that the buses are completely full up to the brim, packed like sardines, that's no longer going to be the case. That means you're going to have to wait even longer. I suspect that car rental is going to be up, and I also believe that that a lot of people are going to just drive there and go and have their own vehicles, and to get out of this, or that taxi drivers and Uber drivers are going to be ecstatic. But in the meantime, um, it's going to be, that park is that's also going to, if you're having limited bus capacities, that's also going to lower the capacity in the parks, the people that are going there, because they won't be able to get there. I mean, they already said last year that the buses are only going to arrive at a certain interval, like every hour or less, and now they're talking about cutting down on the capacity of the buses, of course, how many people can be in the bus. So that, hello to Joe there. And so now they're going to it's going to be nuts. You're going to be able to you have to wait longer for the bus, and there's going to be a lot less people. So I suspect, if you don't have a car there, you're going to be there's going to be a lot of waiting. And I haven't heard much about the monorail on the Skyliner. I think that's the next thing we're gonna have to check up on. I believe that they're going to be running at limited capacity, also, the Skyliner and the monorail. Oh, well, the Skyliner is not too bad, because it only can fit 10 people at tops, anyways, and your party you could be one party at a time, and I think that could work out for the Skyliner. So that might help out people going to get on the Skyliner and stuff. So there was some interesting, also not really news, but there's been some interesting, I mean, it's news, I guess, but interesting things that are going on. For instance, just west of the just west of the animal kingdom, out about 5 miles west of that, a big developing company, developer has purchased a several hundred acres of land for condominiums and houses out there to be developed. And as we know, Disney has made a purchase of land also, and I think as the complex goes on, um, and as Disneyland, basically Disney World. I'm sorry, as Disney World goes and gets bigger, and they want to you know m- m- expand on the parks in the future, they're going to have to make these purchases soon because developers are building like crazy around the property, and they're buying stuff. Now, I don't know if Disney comes to them and says, "Hey, you know, please don't buy there, don't build there. We need this space for expanding." Or I don't know if they try to negotiate with them or give them some type of ultimatum or try to buy them out or whatever, or persuade them not to do that. But 5 miles, I mean, that's pretty close. And I think Disney may be wanting to start buying land to build another buffer around Disney World. Um, but part of that problem is also there's a lot of forests and I don't know about forests, but like parks and wildlife and stuff like that. They want to try to continue to preserve in the state of Florida, and I think that's part of some things they have to do when purchasing land. So I thought that was interesting. Also, people, Disney Plus. I have Disney Plus, and Disney Plus apparently it doesn't have all the Disney movies there, of course. And there was an article I was reading in regards to Disney Plus is waiting until like almost the end of the year to get a lot of the movies back. For instance, all the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies, they're all on Netflix and other platforms contracted to be on them. Netflix has a host of them, and so if you don't see your movie, on Disney Plus for Disney, it may be on Netflix or another maybe HBO or something else that has it tied up there. And a lot of people are a lot of big fans of other Disney movies that are not on Disney Plus, but they're waiting for them to come back. I that It's also the same issue for other companies that are now, for streaming services that are now wanting to take get back all the rights to all of their movies and put them in one single vault of and location vault, so you have to be sent there to watch them. And I think Disney has the patience. There's a lot of content still to watch on Disney Plus. Anyways, so hopefully you guys liked all that. I my goal here is to give you guys the news, but also to give my opinion and also have a conversation about it. So if you like this, show up next Sunday, 11 o'clock in the morning live. Well, I will recap the news. I was doing the Disney news, breaking Disney news. I mean, if it's really, really breaking news and it's really superly important, I might talk about it. I might make a video about it. But I think weekly is going to be this format for this, and I think it's something gathering all the stories and keeping track of them and then talking about them. I mean, it's almost overwhelming how much there is, and I think breaking it down and talking about it is really something that everybody would like to do. And because there's a lot of opinions. I mean, I could tell you from being on Facebook groups, they have all sorts of conversations and discussions about all sorts of news because people have different of opinions about things and whatnot. And it's always great conversations. So, with that said, thank you for watching, and you guys have a great one. And for now, talk to you guys later. Bye bye.